Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andriy Shevchenko. On behalf of Media Center Ukraine, I would like to welcome all the journalists telling the world about our struggle for freedom. We have a special meeting now because at the Media Center today we're hosting the band PATSYKI's FRANEKA, kids from Franek, kids from Ivano-Frankivsk, a group from Ukraine that have thrown themselves into the cultural struggles, with the cultural aspect of the war. And we're going to talk today to Nazar and Lola about their work in this very difficult, in this year that is very difficult for Ukraine. Nazar, we're going to start with you. I had the opportunity to watch you yesterday in your concert in Lviv, your work with people, how you talk to people. What do you tell the Ukrainians who show up at your concerts in this difficult time? Hello, everyone. To all Ukrainians, to all brothers and sisters, all journalists, all the world supporting Ukraine in this time. It's a very moving, a very difficult time for us now. What we tell people at our concerts, well, we tell them that we will not give up. We tell them that fortunately Ukrainians as are a nation that will not bow to anyone. This starts not with soldiers in the front line. This starts with ordinary people who support the war effort. This starts with each of us, starts with everyone who donates their 10 hryvnia to the Ukrainian army. We are all a single fist fighting the enemy. The world is with us, and we're very grateful for that. Your songs are mostly life affirming, that are probably dissonant with the mood, with the general mood. When people show up at your concerts who are thinking about generators and survival issues at home, who are maybe thinking about the front line, the contact line, what is it like to sing for people like this? This is a question we put ourselves together with the band at the very start of the war, because we understood that the joyful, happy music is perhaps tricky right now, and we were thinking about joining the army with the boys, or joining the territorial defense. We were considering helping specifically on the front line, and we were volunteers collecting armored vests and collecting money for vehicles. But later, when we were talking to people who were specifically in the army and who were fighting, and they told me this key thing that I would like to share with every Ukrainian: you have to do what you know how to do. You have to do what you're best at in your specific place. And then we ask ourselves the question: well, what are we good at? What are we best at? Well, we're good at singing. We're good at performing. We're good at lifting morale. On the one hand, we understood that we can't take these happy songs to the guys in the front line. We can't perform in Ukraine because there isn't that festive kind of atmosphere right now. But what we can do as Ukrainian artists, with authentic Ukrainian songs and Ukrainian spirits, we can represent our country in Europe. We can tell the world about what's going on here. And we've taken this as a mission. We've taken this on as a mission. And then the question arose. The next question was, well, okay, so Jamala has collected $1 million in her concerts. Well, I don't think we'll come up with $1 million. And I remember we were talking about this with Serhiy Tanchinets, leader of Bez Obmezheń, and he said, well, if we each do our little best, we will bring our victory closer. One of the reasons we invited you to the media center is we wanted to hear about the European tour that your band have held this year. We know that along with Oleg Skrypka and Oleg Soloviy and Khrystyna Soloviy, you've been to many European towns where you've helped collect funds for support for Ukraine and for the Ukrainian military. Can you tell us about this tour? Well, the first thing that struck us at the start of the war was, when I was a kid, I was familiar with the concept of refugee, and I always imagined them as these kind of poor people who are escaping some poor country into some other, quote unquote developed country like Germany or whatever, in search for a better fate. And when I personally, through our singer Lola, when I understood what it means to be a refugee, because she was taking her mother out of the country, and they spent 14 hours on the Polish border in the cold. And on the other side, they were met by people, and they were given warmth and shelter, and This was a very moving moment. I don't understand. I couldn't imagine how I personally might accept strangers into my home, and the gratitude that I experienced. I really wanted to say thank you to all those people who have been so welcoming to our people. Thank you to all those to the businesses who send material and humanitarian aid. We understood that this can become a key message from the Ukrainian artists. And it so happened that a classmate of mine from the Ukrainian gymnasium now works at the European Parliament. And when we were talking to her and thinking about what we might do for Ukraine, well, she said, well, which of the Ukrainian artists might you get involved in an initiative of this kind? And I said, we have to get people involved, those Ukrainian artists who bring the real Ukrainian authentic song and spirit, the sort of the DNA of Ukraine, who've been brought up by their grandparents, because it's not enough to just be an artist. It's not enough to be just a musician, and that's when I talked to Oleg Skrypka. He's a good friend, and I said, and he said, Nazar, we're ready. We can leave as soon as you say. And we organized this large tour. It started in France. We started in Toulouse, where up to 1,000 Ukrainians and French people showed up. This was all in the French press, saying that Ukrainian musicians are starting this charity tour to thank all of us. And in Europe, the farther you go outside of Ukraine, there is this sense of like, yes, people are living their lives. Yes, they know there's a war, but we have to understand that they have their own lives, and they have to pay their power bills, their food. They're the same kind of people as we are. The questions of war are remote for them, and our job as artists was to convey to them, was to make them see our hardship and our struggle. The idea that we're struggling not just for ourselves, because Ukraine right now is acting as a bit of a shield. I would like to get Lola involved in the conversation. How has it been for you to perform in Europe? So I can't say that I was particularly emotional. The way it doesn't work. The way you perform in Ukraine, it doesn't work anywhere else. Were you thinking about carrying some message or a mission? You don't think about yourself. You think about what you convey to people, what you tell people, and what impression you leave for them after you leave the stage. So for me personally, performing in Europe was hard. It was unusual. It's not the kind of show, where in peacetime you show up in a tour, you emerge on stage. I always cry on stage. There's always some. It was difficult for me. I was glad to have our team with us. It was good to have Ukrainians in the room and non-Ukrainians, and you can see their perception. And at some point, I asked myself, is this even important? The fact that we're here, there's a war in Ukraine, and like you said, well, our repertory is. These are dance, life-affirming, joyful songs. When people show up after the concert and say, well, thank you so much, it's as if we came home for this hour. Because really, we weren't about to go to Europe. We went not because we wanted to, but it's because we felt we had to. And so, in the first song, people would cry, then they would sing with us, then they would dance. And you understand that this matters to people, and you understand, this is where I am where I'm supposed to be at this time. One of the goals clearly was to collect money. Do you have any sort of results, measurable results in terms of, or what results? What have been the results, the outcome of your work in Europe? In Montenegro, we collected over 18,000 euros at a large concert that were then sent to the Pritula Foundation. In France, we got up to 10,000 euros that were then sent to various humanitarian foundations in Ukraine. And one small mission that we took on, we've been friends with the football blogger and football player Dmytro Povoroznuk. He was organizing a children's football camp on the basis of Ruch, and there were many young football players from, refugees from Mariupol, from different affected locations. And so at the concert, we simply said, we have a friend who does this kind of work, and if each of you, and we have thousands here, if each of you can contribute even €1, 4 little boys will go to this camp for free. And we collected over 10 sort of opportunities for these. We've been able to send over 10 kids to this camp. What sort of songs work best this year? What sort of songs have the best response? Well, it's hard to write fun, happy, light songs right now. We've rediscovered the old rebel songs that are over 100 years old. Somehow the words that we've all heard and known from our grandparents, they now sound different. They hit different now. They used to be historical songs for us, but now when we sing, the song that makes everyone cry, not just Ukrainians, the song is again relevant. It's talking to something that's happening today. The song was hidden from us by Soviet propaganda because they wanted to hide our history from us, so that we don't know that the Russians were never our brothers. They were, in historical memory, always enemies, destroying our culture. Lola, what songs do you feel work best? My impression is that people want to feel that the artist standing on the stage shares your sadness, shares your heaviness. So in my sense is that it's not necessarily sad and plaintive songs, but dancing is nice. But or you're dancing on stage, do you understand what I'm feeling now? So we have these songs, sometimes patriotic ones, or more. It seems to us that we don't know how people perceive it, but people seem to respond really well when you look at them and they say thank you for singing what hurts. I suggest that we listen to one of your songs, and Nazar has already told us a little bit what the song is going to be like. Perhaps let's give it a listen.
Ту пісню навчив мене співати.
This song was taught to me by my grandfather. We actually play his voice in the concerts. I'll try to recreate this now.
Гармати б'ють гармати, не перестаючи, заплакали українці, та й до бою йдучи, заплакали українці, та й до бою йдучи. Ой, не плачте, українці, що до бою йдете, як вам Господь допоможе, та й ся повернете, як вам Господь допоможе, та й ся повернете. Набивайте, хлопці, кріси, набивайте хутко, вже сторожа дає знати, що москалі близько, вже сторожа дає знати, що москалі близько.
Бились вони з москалями, кров всякла коліна, напиймося, браття, крови, не треба нам вина. Напиймося, браття, крови, не треба нам вина.
Б'ють гармати, не перестаючи, засміялись українці,
та й до бою йдучи, засміялись українці, та й до бою йдучи.
Дякую. Яка реакція на такі пісні?
Thank you. What is the response to songs like this? Well, people in the first row and the rest immediately start crying, and after that, we immediately hit them with a jollier song, and people often come up and say, "Well, no, you can't do that," and I say, "Well, no, that's exactly what you should do because all Ukrainians need." We need the morale right now. As an old rebel song says, our warriors fight well. They laugh when they go into battle. Nazar Khudyn, Lola, PATSYKI FRANEKA, kids from Franek, thank you for the mood you create and for what you do, and a great honor for me personally to meet you, to meet this band that I personally really like. Please watch our